Oh,
So I've got to say that generally speaking, when we get these thumbnails for our episodes, that generally it's pretty evenly matched. And for this one, I really feel like I got screwed.
actually, so this was my idea. I asked Corey to
Oh,
do this. So I have to take the heat for that one, I guess. But in a way, it makes sense because I'm really into Halo as far as the games go, as I played a lot of the games, and then the series came out, which it debuted. Oh, by the way, welcome to this week's edition of Between the Pod and the Hard
right.
Place. I'm Stephen Colton.
And I'm
Um,
Chris Kirkpatrick, and apparently I'm a model for Vidal Sassoon.
but see, that's the thing. I started watching this series, and it came out in March, I think, and I was like, one day I'll watch it. One day I'll watch it. And then I was at work the other day, and lately, what I've been doing at work is just small little things like fold
Right.
t-shirts, price things. So I have a lot of time to just sit. And so they're fine with me having a phone or whatever. So I popped some earbuds in and started watching Halo. I think I watched like 3 episodes the first day, and it was roughly like 30. Some episodes are shorter, but like generally around the hour mark, like 45 minutes, whatever. And I really enjoyed it. So the girl in the picture, for those of you that aren't familiar with Halo, that's Cortana, which is this super intelligent AI
Okay.
that's implanted in the Master Chief, which is on the right.
Okay.
And
So,
so
so what?
basically, yeah,
Yeah. So you are making me the super intelligent AI.
in a manner of speaking, I guess, because see, Cortana in the show and in the game is kind of implanted into Master Chief. So in his head, she's kind of like tied to his brain, so she can speak to him at any point, and he can hear her and talk to her. And so I felt like on the show, I'm not so much of a futuristic military soldier, but you're kind of the voice saying that doesn't make any sense. Let's talk about this instead. So
Okay.
in a
I
sense,
It took you a while to get there, but I
yeah.
I followed you anyway. So yeah, I'll take that as the compliment I think you were intending that to be.
Yeah, and I also thought it was funny that you were a girl. I don't know.
Right. That was that was the left field moment for me. Was that little gender swap, but I guess I'll take it.
I mean,
Um,
they have other male characters, but I thought, well, there's 2 of us and there's the 2 of them, so I was like, well, it would be funnier
yeah,
this way. And for
yeah,
people that aren't really familiar with Halo, though, I wanted to show a couple of images. This is from the video game. So this is the evil forces that they always fight against, which is called the Covenant, and they're this alien race. They have plasma-based weapons and all this stuff. And then there's also, here's another picture of the Master Chief. This is from the game itself, and they're just kind of in a battle there in the battlefield.
yeah. Part of the reason why I haven't watched it is simply because the show's on Paramount. I don't have
Yeah,
that. I'm not subscribed to it. But I was looking at some of the stats, and right now it's got a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty
it's decent.
solid score. I think even it says here 84% of Google users like the show.
Wow.
So if you've got 70% of the people that have a positive response about what you're putting out there, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I know it's that's kind of impressive too because the game or the show is based on a video game, so a lot of the times these video game based things don't do as good on a larger scale, like universally, compared to regular movies or shows
Yeah.
that aren't based on games. So that's pretty impressive, and I think it obviously is targeted towards the fans of the games
Oh, of
because
course.
that's the whole point. But I think it's really well done, and it to me it kind of felt it had some vibes from The Mandalorian, just in like this. Oh, here's this heroic figure, and he's trying to do this task, and there's a kid involved, and it's that kind of thing. But then it shifts, and there's a couple of scenes in the show where there's one in particular, I can't remember which episode, but he shifts into first person mode and he's shooting, but in you can see his gun and see the little There's a little screen on the gun that shows you how many bullets are left, and that's exactly like the game. And I'm just down to the little details. Showing a couple of pictures of the show here. Here's the Master Chief from the show, and that's compared to the game. I think they did a very good job of getting the details of the costume right, the armor, the guns, the overall look. And then here's a picture from the show of one of the Covenant people with that plasma sword.
Oh wow!
So that's like the real life show version of the game character here. So I think they did a really good job at the detail and the effects, because all the aliens were totally CG. They couldn't find any real ones, I think.
They just weren't available.
Yeah, and then the plasma based sword. So don't look up the Master Chief Cortana shipping stories. Okay, I will.
That will be awkward.
But yeah, I don't know. We kind of themed the little title thumbnail card image around Halo. We don't necessarily have to talk the entire show about Halo, but I thought, why not bring it up? And if people out there have Hulu, but they don't have, no wait, never mind. That's Hulu and Disney. Never mind. I was like, if you don't have it, you can sign up for it. And no, I the last couple of months of Paramount that I've had have been like $5 a month, because I was going to leave and they were like, please don't. And then they offered me like half price for a couple of months. So that's why I stayed on Paramount. Once I finished, Beavis and Butthead is also on Paramount, and they have a new episode every Thursday. Or is it Sunday? I can't remember. It's once a week. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, because I watched Beavis and Butthead at work yesterday. So I got paid to watch Beavis and Butthead yesterday. That was awesome.
Well, I love the fact that we're doing sort of a teaser reel here for if people are not already watching Halo or they're not already Halo fans. This might just be the thing that makes them go and check it out.
I mean, it's a good show. I mean, if you're totally, I was talking to Corey about it a little bit when I was asking him to make the the image, and he said he saw the first episode, and he says, "Does it get any better?" I'm like, "Oh, come on." But then again, that's one episode. So, and it's not going to be something for everybody, because obviously a lot of people aren't into space aliens and this and that, and it's very heavily video game based. And if people don't know about the video games, they might not necessarily like the show.
Right.
I can't say for sure, but I feel like if I had never played the game, I still would enjoy the show. But I think I would have had to have known a little bit about the game to really have the interest in wanting to start watching it. It's one of those things where if you start getting into it, I think it gets a little bit better. The stories themselves kind of push it, but
it helps if you're a fan first.
Yeah, I mean, if they made a show about some guy painting walls for a living, I'd be like, but then if it's really good, I would stay into it.
If you were a professional wall painter, you'd go, "Oh, that's the most amazing wall painting I've ever seen."
You would be like the gamers, though. I know, like, there's some diehard Halo people that might not like it. I don't know. I was telling my uncle about it, and he had reservations. And not specific things. There are a couple of issues, like the main guy that plays the voice, that does the voice in the video games of the Master Chief character. It's not in the show. And I know that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. They're like, why not? He was perfect. It's already there. Use the voice. The actor is like 70 years old. So I can understand not wanting to have him be this soldier character. I mean,
it'd be hard for him to, in live action, to do that kind of character.
It would be interesting to have, and it would be, because it's a lot of heavy acting and action, and obviously they probably have stunt people when they're fully costumed, but going along with like some Boba Fett stuff and Mandalorian, he does take his helmet off quite a bit in the show, and he doesn't really do that in the games. You never see his face really in the game. I don't think ever. And so people go, "Oh no, why are you taking that's so bad. He never does that." You got to have that. I mean, you have emotional stories, you have interesting stories, and you have to have that face. You have to see the emotion. You have to see the reactions. You can't just have like a statue guy going, "We won, bye," and then leave. Like it's.
I think that what we see is that there is, negativity and toxicity in the fandom, and no matter what show it is you're watching.
Yeah.
It happens there in Halo, and I think that people become emotionally invested in these characters, through the games they're playing, and at the same time, they get emotionally invested, you know, watching the show. Sometimes we create these pictures in our heads of the way things are supposed to be,
Mhm.
and when they don't actually line up exactly the way we want them to, that happens.
That's right.
Was there
Yeah.
any twerking involved in any of the episodes?
No, I can't say that there was.
I'm kind of
Um,
disappointed.
yeah, I was gonna throw out some references, but no one probably would get them right now because number one, they haven't seen it. Number two, they're like game references. But yeah, but speaking of She-Hulk, I did watch episode 3. I
Okay,
forgot it. I forgot it came on, so I watched it. I guess on it was. I want to say yesterday morning
okay.
before work, or it could have been Thursday evening. It was either Thursday evening or yesterday morning, but I liked it, and I can kind of see why some people don't like it, but those people aren't familiar with She-Hulk, and I'm not either. I'm not familiar with She-Hulk before the
Well,
show.
from what my understanding is that She-Hulk as a character was pretty sexualized
Yeah,
even in the comic books. So it's not a stretch. There is a picture that's been circulating in social media of She-Hulk doing naked jump rope.
let me find this post real quick. No,
Um,
no, I mean,
right. No, I
you
mean,
see,
again,
yeah,
and and the scene that the internet is losing their minds over is the scene of She-Hulk twerking alongside Megan the Stallion.
yeah.
And I didn't, number one, I didn't even know who Megan the Stallion was. I feel totally out of the loop.
I thought it was a
Um,
made-up character for the show.
yeah,
I really
um,
did.
but it's literally an after credit scene.
Yeah,
And you know, by the way, if you've ever watched any Marvel movie, after credit scenes are typically kind of either they're going to give you an important in-depth insight, or it's almost like an outtake, right? Like
yeah,
something that's meant to be funny, um, and maybe slightly off color. Um, I enjoyed it.
yeah,
I really loved it. Um, if the entire episode was about twerking, then I would go, eh. But from the very beginning of the show, it has not set itself up to be this super serious
no,
story. And if you're watching She-Hulk expecting it to be um Captain America the First Avenger, you might be a little disappointed. If you're watching it though and you want a fun superhero movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, you might enjoy it a little bit.
yeah. And to be fair, too, at the very first episode, She-Hulk tells the audience, lawyer show, lawyer show, lawyer shows. They really, really drive it home that this is a lawyer show. This isn't
Yeah,
some big time like Marvel Avengers type of thing. This is a lawyer show, so it's going to be goofy, quirky lawyer show. They say it from the beginning, and the character, from what I understand, is very, very close to the comic book version of her.
yeah,
Like the goofiness, the sexiness, whatever you want to call it. Like all of that is part of the character in the comics. So I don't know why people are so upset. That's why I say like I'm not familiar with the comics either, but I'd like the show. I think She-Hulk is hot, and I feel like last week I mentioned something about that, and I thought I was going to get canceled. But now She-Hulk was twerking, so I think I'm safe.
right. Well, again, I don't think Tatiana Maslany gets enough credit for the work she's put into this character.
No,
Number one, I think she's great as Jen,
hmm
and I will say that I think I like her. I think I like her better as Jen than I like her
okay,
as She-Hulk. Um, well, because I think that generally speaking, when we're talking about people who have superpowers, we tend to say that we like the superpowered version of the character better. But I
hmm
like Jen. In fact, I think she's a great lawyer, and
yeah,
and that's her true superpower. Not that she turns green, but that she can win a case that nobody thought was winnable. Um,
oh,
in
yeah,
fact, she helped win two cases that nobody thought was winnable.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter that the first one got overturned.
Right.
It just matters that she won. That she was able to do it.
Yeah. So again, I really I like the show. I think that one thing we've realized in this age is that everybody's got a voice and an opinion, and you know, people have no problems in voicing whether they like it or not. Um,
Which one is the real Tatiana? The real one.
as opposed to the fake one.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, you mean as far as whether it's Jen or whether it's She-Hulk, which one is really her? I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
you know what's crazy is that she had been in a show, I believe, on the BBC where she played different versions or different clones of herself.
Wow.
So this idea of her not playing, playing multiple characters or multiple versions of herself, I think that's right up her alley as an actress. Again, she's been around for quite a while. She's won awards for what she does. So again, I'm really glad. I'm really happy with what she's doing. I think it was neat seeing Wong back in the episode.
That was really cool. And then when he left, it's like they were going to chase after him because he was like, "Yeah, I admit to breaking this criminal out of prison." And they're like, "Well, you better get over here right now." Oh, see ya.
Right. Yeah. It was one of those things where Wong was more than happy to show up and kind of help vouch for Abomination, but he wasn't going to go and willingly, accept punishment.
Right.
So.
And at first I was like, well, why would it matter if they arrest him? He could just like portal himself out of there. But then moments later, when the judge was like, okay, yes, we're going to let you go on parole, but they put a dampener on him, is what they say. So I was like, okay, so they do have the dampeners. So like, which I guess I knew they had that anyway, because didn't they put that on Loki or something whenever they were arresting him and taking him away? But I didn't think of that. I was like, okay, so that's cool. Well, it makes me wonder how that's going to go forward with this character. He's like going to be dampened in house arrest or whatever.
Isn't kind of the idea behind Thunderbolts that they're? I think of them kind of like the Marvel Universe's Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's so.
So if you've got Abomination working for the government, as long as he's working for the government, he can transform into Abomination. Outside of that, though, they're going to keep that turned on.
And I really like that other guy's girlfriend. I forget the character's name. The one, the shapeshifter. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious. It was hilarious.
I hope to see that character more. I hope it wasn't just a one-off kind of thing, because that could be very funny.
The shapeshifter or the guy that she had worked with in the DA's office?
I guess more so the shapeshifter, but I think they both could be interesting again in some way.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere, though. I don't think he's going to be a huge major player.
Probably not.
The character that I still am intrigued by is Josh Segarra, who plays Pug. And we know Josh Segarra from our love of Arrow, where he had played Prometheus, one of the best villains that show had seen. So I have a hard time trusting him. Though when I went and kind of researched the character, he's Pug is actually a well-known character in the She-Hulk universe. In fact, I believe that he likes She-Hulk. And at some point, they end up moving in together. Though I don't think She-Hulk ever realizes that he likes her. She's like completely oblivious.
That would be a good scenario for the show, because the format is like goofy lawyer show, and then the fourth wall moments where the guy's like, maybe he cooks dinner for her and she goes home. She's like, this is out of the way for him. I don't know why he
Right.
thinks so. Those awkward moments would be so hilarious to see on
I
screen.
think we're gonna find out that the gift basket was from him. It wasn't
Could
from the
be.
business. And his telling her about the bathroom best for pooping was like he was trying to go above and beyond to really get her attention.
So I had a
Um,
thought too. Like we saw She-Hulk partying in one of the earlier episodes. Was it the
right.
first or second episode where she gets like really not drunk, but she's just like drinking all over the place? Or was it the last episode? I can't remember. But when she turns back into her regular human form, she's like, "Oh, I'm drunk, woo!" And instantly, the metabolism like catches up to the alcohol. I also wondered. You mentioned pooping, so if she ate a lot as She-Hulk and turned back into human, would she instantly have to like just go to the bathroom? I don't
that really is a very sophisticated question that I'm sure all of our viewers are wondering about. No, I think that She-Hulk and Jen have completely different metabolic rates. And
Oh yeah.
so like had 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 she been in her She-Hulk form for an extended amount of time, the alcohol would have worked itself out of her system.
Hmm.
And when she turned back into Jen, she wouldn't have been drunk. Um, I I think that what we see here is the alcohol doesn't just magically disappear. It
Right.
has to go someplace. It either gets metabolized or whatever. Um, and because she had drunk so much in a short amount of time, that's why it affected her so quickly. I think the same thing is true probably for anything she ingests. That if she ate a large amount, that she'd have to deal
Hmm.
with it,
She,
especially if she
yeah.
transitioned.
She transitioned and then like she needs to start rushing to that best bathroom to poop in because
Right.
I would imagine She-Hulk's stomach is much larger, so and her metabolism is much higher as we saw with the alcohol. So if she ate a ton, now if she switched instantly, then she'd be like, oh, and it would be you better find a toilet or wear a
Right.
diaper.
Right.
But yeah, that would be interesting. They should do an episode about that.
I'm sure, considering where we're going, I think that it's possible. I know that people are hanging in there to She-Hulk because they know that Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox,
Mm.
um, who plays Daredevil, is supposed to be at some point involved in this show. I had seen a meme going around. Well, actually, I posted one in our group, a picture of Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock smiling, and the caption underneath the picture had said, um, "Daredevil when he hears She-Hulk twerking."
Oh, he hears her twerking. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was good.
and I thought that was hilarious. That one was almost as good as another one that I had come across, where um, it was She-Hulk twerking, and right behind her is that classic Tobey Maguire uh, Spider-Man 3, um, Bully Maguire dance, right? Where he's got
Yeah,
his arms up in the air and, the
yeah.
that whole thing. So they've put those two together, and that was hilarious.
I saw one. I don't know if it was in our group or somewhere else, but because I see memes fly from all over, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to remember where they came from. But I saw one where it was a picture of She-Hulk twerking, and then right before that was a picture from the first episode where she was clapping, and it said
Oh,
like if
yes.
she could combine these skills and master this, then who was it? Who was the villain? Like he would never have a chance against her if he could match. She could master the
Well,
combination.
so we know in Loki that Kang
Kang,
is
yes.
yeah, Kang is going to be like the big bad. He's going to be the Thanos, um,
Hmm.
sort of the danger to the entire multiverse. That's what
Yeah.
we know. To the all of the existing timelines, we know that he's coming. But yes, some combination of clapping and um, uh,
I mean, that could really it could do some damage.
It might be at least a stunning blow. At least might cause him to pause for a moment. So
I mean, so let's see. I think that movie doesn't come out on Disney Plus. Well, that one might not, but
I might have gotten the wrong version of She-Hulk.
I think that was the parody that you found that you had to pay like $4.99 for online.
Probably.
Or $9.99, however much it is. I want to see if there's one of those. There actually is a version of that adult parody of that character, but we won't get into that because
Thank you.
Yeah,
because we're a kids show.
I have it right here. I'm going to share the screen. No, right. Yeah, that's interesting though. Like this She-Hulk character in general, I just think it's great. I think it's funny. I don't know why people are so mad about it. I think that first line of like, I have to control my anger infinitely more, that they're like, oh, shut up. It's like, get over it. Come on.
Well, and again, I think that she said that in episode 1, and I think the remainder of the show is going to be really demonstrating how being a Hulk isn't as easy as she thinks it is. That's really what I think. Is it true what she said? I think that it's true that women deal with different kinds of stress than men do, and men deal with different kinds of stress than women do.
Absolutely.
But it explains it that the way that she deals with anger is completely different than how Bruce deals with anger and trauma. And
he can't really deal with it.
Well, he does now, but it took him 15 years. But I do think that her statement, thinking that she had got it all figured out in a relatively short amount of time, I think that we're going to see that it's not quite as easy as she wants Bruce to think.
No, that's going to be the whole story arc is the twerk clapping,
right?
And at the end, when she masters that, then she's come around, and
then somebody's going to buy her a Thigh Master and a Shake Wave, and it's going to be all over.
And, one of the shake weights where it's she's going to be doing that, and then you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Whoa.
And then
and all those people that were complaining, they're all going to come back.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, we got to watch the shake weight episode.
Yeah.
It's not easy being green. No, it's not, because like you can't eat meat or anything.
Now there is the crossover that we all need, is a Kermit the Frog She-Hulk crossover.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
it'd be awkward if he was like a 6 foot tall Kermit the Frog. It'd be weird, but I would watch that.
Yeah,
like who owns Sesame Street now? Or no, I guess. Well, HBO owns Sesame Street.
Right, but we're talking about Muppets, right?
But yeah, Muppets. Kermit was on Sesame Street, but I guess the Muppet. I don't know if the same people own Kermit the Frog, because he was his own thing. I think not always attached, but just assuming that it is an HBO character now, and we're looking at Marvel, so that would never happen. Darn.
I know. It's a missed opportunity. Totally missed opportunity.
We got to start a movement like hashtag Kermit Hulk. I don't know. That would be interesting.
We'll need to go ahead and just simply, let them know what our recommendation is, and maybe, who knows?
I really am impressed with how they do the She-Hulk character, like as far as visually. And I think I mentioned this last time too, but when I first started watching it and I saw the first 2 episodes, I thought it was just her in a wig and green paint. But the more I watch it, the more it seems like they have beefed it up a little bit and CG a little bit. Maybe some kind of face mapping on like a CG, or like maybe a different body actor with her face. I don't know, but I don't know that it's the same exact body you look at when she's in human form.
No, I mean, if you've realized it, when she transitions from being She-Hulk to Jen, there is a considerable difference in her proportion, right?
Right.
Jen is not a very big woman.
No, and that's why it was so impressive tall. At first.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they just made the camera, they just put the camera lower and tilted it up. Which they could do for the height difference.
Yeah.
But no, I think it took me a couple episodes to realize that they put a lot of work into making that character look so realistic. You look at the Hulk himself, and it's like, oh yeah, that's CG. But then with her, it's like, oh wow, that could be a real person. And I don't know if they did a body double or like a body actor with the face change, or if they just did a fully CG body with the face. I don't know, but either way, it looks really great. And I would like to hang out with the Hulk version, the She-Hulk version.
Yeah.
Both of them really, like, you know, they both have their qualities. I don't want to say too much because it's going to get myself in trouble. But I feel like I have a little bit more freedom now that she's willingly twerking, and everybody loves it.
I don't know if that necessarily is, you know, an invitation for every man to go and, you know.
No, I'm just saying. I guess I enjoy it. I'm not gonna start flipping quarters at her or like throwing dollar bills or anything like that. But it's fun to watch. I have different curiosities. Like, could She-Hulk get pregnant? Let's find out. No, that's terrible. I am curious though. Does like in She-Hulk form, could she get pregnant with like a human person? I think of the weirdest things, but it's a thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know as if we've had any experience of Hulk. Well, that isn't that kind of the thing that in the comics, doesn't Bruce actually father a child?
I thought he did. I'm not super familiar with the comics, but I thought he did.
So being a gamma irradiated, superhero doesn't mean that it doesn't cause sterility, or infertility. So she could theoretically, have kids.
Well, I think interesting.
Yeah. Though I think there might be, Hulk and her have kids.
Okay.
That would be creepy.
I don't know if they had kids together. That would be even weirder. They're cousins and all. But
yeah, that'd be a really awkward Hulk smash.
Hulk smash. Then she has to control her anger more than him. I don't know.
I know. Yeah. No. So I mean, I guess the point is that she's capable of having kids. He's capable of having kids. Hopefully I don't think she could.
Yeah. I don't know that she could transform while pregnant though, because wouldn't it really mess up the? Maybe not. Who knows?
I don't know. Women do gymnastics pregnant. They ride bicycles pregnant.
I mean, I guess just like changing her entire biological structure, like growing and all that. I guess if her like uterus was the same size, no matter what, it wouldn't matter. Because I would feel like if she was pregnant while being She-Hulk and then turned back to human, it would just crush everything. I don't know. Nah, I gotta call Kevin Feige and see if he'll do that episode for me so I can find out.
That would answer a lot of our important questions.
I wonder if Mark Guggenheim knows him.
Have you considered reaching out to Mark and saying, "Hey, Mark, we have an important question for Kevin Feige. Could you please, call him up on your director phone and
it's red like the Batman phone,
right, like calling the president."
Listen, see, this is Mark. Hey, Kevin, let's. I don't know why they're 1920s reporters, but
I don't know. Gosh,
I mean, I don't know. And Mark has written for Marvel before, and so maybe he has some answers himself.
Yeah, it's very possible. He had written for Green Lantern, so he should know about Green, She-Hulk.
Right up there with the kryptonite condom. See,
right.
Yeah, is there like a gamma radiated birth control pill? I don't know. We get into the weird questions sometimes.
We really do. This is quite the rabbit hole.
It makes me wonder sometimes. You don't really have those questions with Hawkeye. It's like he's just a dude, and he's cool, I guess, but he's just a dude. I'm waiting to see you. Yeah,
Hawkeye, what are you doing with those arrows?
I'm hitting that. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Yes, bullseye. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, most of these characters aren't like mutated type so far. I mean, we're probably going to get mutants and stuff.
So I know that this episode has gone down the rabbit hole, and we're talking about some things. Can Hawkeye get pregnant?
I mean, probably. Yeah, in the multiverse.
Probably. and we're going to find out that Hawkeye is, transgender, and
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
he
and when you
could be.
realize that Kate Bishop is now Hawkeye, then it's
Hey,
an absolute yes. Hawkeye can get pregnant because it's a woman. Um,
there you go.
there we go. That's an easy answer. Um, but one of the things I think we really deserve to talk about here, since we've already headed in this direction, is the legacy of silly dances in Marvel shows and movies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, how many characters have we seen who have done silly stuff?
so many. I think every Marvel movie or show has had at least one silly dance.
Right.
At
Well,
least
I
one.
mean, we or even just simply referring to people's backsides. Like, people talk about that being America's ass, right?
Yeah,
And that has been a major selling point for the MCU for a while. People love that, um, and it comes up a lot.
yeah,
Um,
it really does.
um, and the same thing with, gosh, what was it? In Guardians of the Galaxy, you got Star-Lord, who, not once but at least twice, breaks out into full-on dance
Yeah,
during the movie. Once in the beginning, a full-on montage dance, and once at the end, um, sort of like, um, uh, oh, Footloose.
yeah, it's true.
So there are plenty of examples that we see of
There are a lot.
characters that do it and do it more, and yet for whatever reason we've gotten sucked into this, you know, fandom hatred, for a very very brief after credit scene in She-Hulk.
That fits her personality anyway.
Yeah, yeah, it
I mean,
is comic accurate.
it would be a little different if Tony Stark came out in like Infinity War and started twerking in front of Thanos. Like that would be a little, or if Thanos himself started twerking with the Infinity Stones lined up in a tramp stamp tattoo. He's like, "Hey Tony," and starts twerking in front of him. That would be a little. I would understand the hatred for that.
But even then, if you remember Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, where he doesn't he like pee in his suit?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, like, full on urinates. Um,
Yeah,
he does some pretty questionable things.
it's not
Um,
twerking though.
no, not twerking, but if we're talking about, you know, doing something that is outside the norm, that
Yeah,
people that should get people's attention, right? There are characters that do the same thing or worse, and yet we don't hear a whole lot about it.
that's true.
Now, do I think it's entirely 100% misogyny? No,
No.
but I do think that people, it's become a pastime that people just shit on shows because that's
Yeah,
what people do.
it's the internet culture, really, and I guess everyone's been guilty of it. But we've made. I kind of teased Hawkeye for a while until I saw the show, and there's stuff that we've talked about Ghostbusters 2016 that we're like,
Oh,
oh, we hate that, but we don't
Ghostbusters
dedicate hours.
Ghostbusters 2016 though absolutely deserves. I mean, that's a movie that speaks for itself,
Yeah,
and not in a good way.
but even then, we don't go on and on and on and on. I mean,
No,
it
we
just really
could,
drive it home. We
we
could
could,
very easily,
but we're
but
not going to.
yeah, right.
But we
We could
could, because it is
just
really bad.
just complain about Ace
But
Ventura.
right, no,
I mean,
you're not gonna come. You're not gonna complain about Ace Ventura.
no, it's great. I actually have to finish watching these. I got these a while back and didn't. I'm
But
actually kind of mad about this, but
why are you mad about Ace Ventura?
well, because I got this 2-pack at a Walmart. It's got both movies in it, and I'm like, "Yay, this is awesome! $5." I go back a couple of weeks later and see the same thing, but it's a little bit different. I'm like, "What's the third movie? It has the cable guy in it."
Oh wow.
And oh man, I would rather have that 3-pack. So maybe I could just go into Walmart and slip this back in the bin and just take the other one and be like, "We're just
You're just
trading them
gonna be
out."
you're just gonna be sly like that.
But
Yeah.
no, these are great movies.
I believe that's criminal That's criminal, Steven.
No, it's just every an exchange. That's illegal, I think.
You could go back and return Ace Ventura, and then
I
walk
could.
over to the bin, take your $5, and then buy it legitimately. I think that might actually works.
He talks with his butt. Need a breath mint? Well, I don't mind if I do.
Pardon me, sir. May I ask you a question?
I love that stuff. I don't know why. It's just so funny. I never watched the animated Ace Ventura, though. There was like a brief animated series, I think.
I think I watched it a little bit. You're right, though. It was not.
It was weird.
It was not the same. They were trying. They were trying really hard to keep it alive. But
it just wasn't that great. I don't know.
No, here's the thing though, is that I think when you go into a movie and you're expecting it to be like I'm not gonna ever walk into a movie where you got somebody like the actor from Ace Ventura. You're not going to, because you know that Jim Carrey is ridiculous. He's made an entire career out of being ridiculous, and I think that again, sometimes we need to temper our expectations.
Same thing with Mike Myers.
Right.
I mean, come on.
You're not going to watch Austin Powers and expect it to be James Bond, right?
Right. It's ridiculous, and
it is.
That's what makes it so good.
And it's bloody brilliant, I tell you. It's one of those kinds of things. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, Ace Ventura Jr. I forgot about that. I forgot that existed. I never watched it. It was like an obscure movie. It was like a sequel. It was a third movie. And it was Ace Ventura, or maybe it was a series. But he was this little kid that looks just like Ace. And it's his son. And he's got his own pet detective, like Junior ID or whatever. And it's like, really? I don't know.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop.
I never saw it, but it can't be that great. It's like Home Alone 3. Talking about terrible sequels. Home Alone 3 was horrible. It had nothing to do with the first two. They put the number 3 on it, which does not deserve a number 3 on the title, because it's not connected in any sort of way imaginable. Why? Why do that? I don't know. It's just dumb.
But I do think though that a lot of the issue that we've got right now with the fandom and everything else is you've got people that are wanting a very serious She-Hulk, when it's very clear that the writers, the producer of the show, want a more lighthearted character and storyline. Yeah. I think we're probably going to end up getting something rather somewhere in the middle at the end when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I liked in the first episode. I loved when She-Hulk and Hulk were fighting.
Yeah, that
was amazing because it's what we expect from Marvel. But then I love the comedy and the fourth wall and the lawyer stuff. I was always into lawyer shows. Never had an interest of being a lawyer or in law in general, but I've always liked law shows.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They're intriguing. So combining those two things, well, really three things: comedy, Marvel, and lawyers, like all together. That's a great mix for me.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So I'm enjoying She-Hulk. I really am liking it. Mm-hmm. And we have 3 episodes left? I'm
not sure how many there's supposed to be.
I think for me, the only thing that I'm not happy about in regards to the Disney Plus shows is I find them all to be a little bit short.
Yeah.
I find them all to be a little bit short. The storyline just gets started and they're resolving it. And I feel like, 10 episodes, I think is good.
Yeah. I think, too, the shortness of that, although I do wish it would be longer, I really feel like they're trying to go along with, that unrealistic resolution of a lawyer show. Oh, there's a murderer, and then, 44 minutes later, the murder is solved.
Yeah.
It's so I get it, but at the same time, the shows aren't even a full hour long. A lot of them are 35 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. So I think really pushing it.
Right. I think they're giving us small resolutions, mm-hmm. But they're really building to something else. I mean, I think that's what we see in all of these shows.
Yeah.
WandaVision was preparing us for Multiverse of Madness, and as I think we're just really seeing how each of these pieces is kind of moving into place for a bigger picture.
Yeah, leading up to the phase whatever 75
Right.
finale, this new end game, basically. I mean, I've heard Secret Wars is going to be the next big thing.
Right.
And I've heard so many rumors that Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Secret Wars, that would be amazing. But I'm not going to make an opinion on that because I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. That would be awesome, though.
It really would be.
Austin Powers should come in and help out. Like, oh, baby, look, that alien's groovy. Oh, it's a fembot.
Basil twins, Basil twins. Showing.
Who does number 2 work for?
Who does number 2 work for?
Yeah, buddy, show that turd who's boss. That was great.
It's a baby.
Oh, now it's just like the Austin Powers quote show. Everybody, come
I
on.
could go. I'm not kidding you. I could go on for hours. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Chili's, baby back ribs.
It's not mine, I swear.
Directions for 1 penis enlargement pump instruction manual. This kind of thing is my bag, baby. Yes.
No, it's not mine.
Really, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yeah. Such good stuff.
It really is. It's bloody brilliant. So I think we're going to need to kind of circle back on Austin Powers at some point.
Yeah. Definitely do a review or something, like maybe talk about each movie.
I think so.
Because I've got all 3 sitting right there in that one pack, so I could watch those anytime. And
I did want to the one show that came on here this week. Did you get a chance to see Stargirl?
Oh, it came on.
It did.
No, I didn't realize it started.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Stargirl came on. So Stargirl season 3, episode 1 came on. And wow. I've actually been going and rewatching Stargirl from season 1.
Okay.
And I'm almost through season 2 in the rewatch of that. But I did go and watch that the season 3 episode 1 episode. It's really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
I didn't realize. I'll probably watch that tonight because I did not realize that started already. For some reason, I was thinking sometime in September. Oh wait, never mind. I was like sometime in September. I thought. Wow.
Yeah. We are in September, and that really did kind of sneak up on us, didn't it?
It really did. I feel like it's August 12th or something. I don't know.
So I don't know. One of the crazy things about this season is it's sort of like a bit like a murder mystery. So that's kind of one of the surprises of Stargirl.
Okay, I like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the team it's got some interesting new members to it. So I'm trying to Does
John Diggle come?
Does John Diggle show up? As we found out, we have no idea if John Diggle is going to show up or not. At this point, it would not shock me.
I would not be shocked if he was a third version of John Diggle. Too.
Oh yeah, there's a John Diggle in every universe.
One of them better be Green Lantern before these shows before the CW goes away forever. They need to have one of them be Green Lantern.
Well, but I mean, we realize though that they've already introduced on Stargirl. They've already introduced Alan Scott.
Right. Alan
Scott's Green Lantern. His daughter shows up in season 2. So I do think there's that, and it seems to me like since the ring went to her and activated it, typically rings get transferred from people when they die. So
I was gonna say maybe she gets busy twerking and the
Right.
ring falls off, and then he's just like, "What's this? No, not you again!" and tries to throw it away, but then it like hits him, and he like turns into, I don't know.
It could be. It could be. I would not be shocked by anything at this point.
No, I
Um,
really wouldn't.
anyway, I encourage you go and watch
Oh yeah,
Stargirl. One of the parts that has been really leading up to this is that Sylvester Pemberton
yeah.
shows up, and that tension that kind of arises between the original Starman and Courtney. There's two people and there's one staff. Who gets it?
Just break it in half, and then
Right. Um,
yeah, that I've been looking forward to that. Honestly, I really have, and I just totally can't believe I didn't realize it came on.
yeah,
It's shocking me. I don't know
I
why.
know.
I'm like, why did? I guess the time just really did kind of go away, and there's so many things on now that just it's harder to catch up with everything new when
Yeah.
there's all this other new stuff, and when you get sucked into watching old stuff like me. Like the last couple of days, I've been sucked into watching That 70s Show.
Oh wow.
They just put it on Peacock. So I have Peacock. I actually own the DVD set of That 70s Show, but it's such a hassle to change out discs and put them in and like
No,
all
I'll
that.
agree. Especially when you can easily, move from one streaming platform to another streaming
Yeah.
platform or cast from your phone. It is a lot easier than, pulling out the DVD, opening it up, closing it.
Especially with a series, because a series like That 70s Show that lasted, I want to say maybe 8 seasons. I can't remember exactly. Then, you have multiple discs. And if you're looking for a specific episode, you have to pull like that disc out, and the way they're packaged, it's like 3 or 4 discs on one little on top of each other, and you got to like take out 3 to get to the one. But yeah, I've been watching that on Peacock. They just added it like 2 days ago. No, yesterday. It was the second when they added it, so that was just yesterday. I've always loved that show because they're doing that 90s show coming up soon.
I heard about that.
Which is a continuation, a sequel series, more like a reboot, but also a continuation. It's kind of like Fuller House and things like that.
I mean, I do wonder a little bit about how that's going to work. I think about the retro nostalgia of the 70s, that kind of that they were playing on with that show. I wonder how that's exactly what's going to make that different than, Malcolm in the Middle.
Honestly, yeah. I guess it's just the format of how they did that 70s show. And I'm just guessing because, I mean, if they don't have the thing where they sit in a circle and rotate the camera around, and like that was one of those elements. And of course, Eric Foreman's parents, like those two characters are part of what made that show so great.
Right.
And they're going to be back. They're going to be like the center of this show. And they're actually watching their granddaughter who's staying with them for the summer. That's like the premise of the show. So she comes over, her and her new friends are going to be sitting in the basement, hanging out together and this and that. And there's a whole new cast of kids. There's some information out there about like the personalities of each character descriptions. I don't remember much of them. But I do know that the parents are going to still be there. And it's going to be the same two people in the same set. They've rebuilt it and redesigned it to be 90s, themed. It's not like a 70s household. It's more got a 90s look to it. And I'm guessing the basement's going to be the same, just a concrete basement with an old raggedy couch that they're watching TV on. But maybe they're watching different things this time because it's that 90s show. I don't know what year it is specifically, probably like 1995 or something. So I don't know. It is a good question. Like, how is it going to change from Malcolm in the Middle? I guess because Malcolm in the Middle is one of those like sitcom-based shows, which the 70s show was too, but it was a live audience type of show.
Right.
They had the laugh track, and they had all that kind of thing. So I'm guessing that the 90s show will be just that same format, that same live audience type of sitcom format, to where I don't know that really makes a difference. I don't know. I'm hoping it's good, though. I hope they don't just completely ruin it and say, well, this is the same show, but it's the 90s, and then the only thing good about it is the parents in the house, and everything else is crap. I just hope that doesn't happen.
Well, I guess we'll wait and see.
I do know that they're going to have all the original cast come back, at least not full cast members, but like guest appearances. And the only one not coming back is Danny Masterson, who played Hyde in that show, because he is actually going to trial for rape charges.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that story's been ongoing for a while.
I think that's why he had been in the ranch.
Yeah, and he got fired from Netflix for those allegations, and then they were like, "Oh, they found them no merit," and then eventually they were like, "Okay, well, enough is here to where we can charge you."
Yeah.
And so I think there's a trial coming up. So there's a lot surrounding him. There's no real clear answer of did he do this or not. I don't know. And what's disturbing too, and I'm not going to trash any sort of religious group, but he is a Scientologist, and as we all know, they've done some let's just say interesting things. So just leave it at that.
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty well established.
Yeah.
That they've done some interesting stuff.
And I'm kind of disappointed because I really like him, and I'm not judging him personally based on his beliefs. If he really did the things that they say he did, then that's tough too, because it's like I love his characters. The Ranch is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
loved it, and it was still good when he left. It was still good after that, but it was just better with him.
Yeah, definitely not the same though.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't know when it's coming out. I know it's going to be Netflix when it does come out. Which makes me wonder why Peacock got the 70s show. You would think, if anything, they would go back to Netflix. I don't know. I believe it was Fox that originally aired that 70s show.
Okay.
So I think it was Fox. I might be wrong, but I believe it was Fox. And Peacock is an NBC company, NBC Universal. So it's weird how these deals get made, these streaming deals get made. And that's another thing. I'm glad I mentioned streaming and deals and stuff, because I was wanting to talk about something and get like just kind of get it out there with the X-Men and Marvel. I was in like another online argument. Surprising, I think, that me arguing on the internet.
Arguing on the internet?
Yeah.
I'm
there was this discussion about the X-Men characters and how they could or could not do them. Being that Fox owned those X-Men movies, and now Disney owns Fox, which not the entirety of Fox, but the studios. It's not 20th Century Fox anymore. What is it called now? Like 21st Century Studios or something like that?
Yeah.
So that studio owns X-Men. And my thought was, couldn't they just make X-Men anytime they wanted? Because they own those movies. They were like, no, because Fox owns them. So they can't make them. Like, but they own Fox. And there was this little back and forth about it. And it's something along the lines of the contracts for the actors in those movies. They couldn't make new ones with anybody else. They would have to make a movie with those actors. Or they can't do it until those contracts run out. Or something like that. I'm like, but how? I don't. And somebody made a good point. They were like, that's probably true because Patrick Stewart was in Doctor Strange, and he did that because he was one of the original Professor X's in the Fox movies. Like, well, that's a good point. That is true, but I don't know. It just seems like if they own the properties now, that they could make them anytime they want with whoever they wanted. And I didn't know if that were a possibility that could be true, of like they'd have to use these people because of pre-existing contracts. I don't know.
I think the existence of the multiverse means that you could still get many different variations of well-known established characters. So just because we see them doesn't mean they necessarily exist in our known universe.
Right. And I'm ready for an X-Men movie. I know
I am too.
X-Men 97.
I want an Avengers level X-Men movie that seriously, does what I think that team deserves and can do.
I really hope to see the Fantastic Four movie too, which I think they've actually announced that they are doing that. I really do hope Spider-Man ties into that. That would be so cool to be able to go back and kind of, it's almost like another reboot of Spider-Man, but without changing actors.
Right.
Because if everybody remembers, if any of us even knew about this, I remember hearing about it a while back, but I forgot. Spider-Man No Way Home re-released in theaters. and it's the more fun edition, I think they call it, where it's like 13 or 14 minutes or something like that of more footage that's not been seen before.
Yeah.
And there was a post-credit scene. Now, spoilers for anybody that's going to go watch the movie again, but this information is probably already out there anyway. The scene kind of establishes the fact that everybody forgets who Peter Parker is, and it's Betty Brant doing her last news story, right? And she shows pictures of all these trips they took through the duration of all 3 movies, and Peter Parker was erased from all the pictures, like he's not in them. So that kind of expands the thought of like what happens. Did they just forget, or did he not exist? So it looks more likely that he just did not exist.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like really blown away because I thought like all the information would still be there, but just no one would remember it. Like school records, like Peter Parker, who's this? Oh well, toss. But,
I mean, I guess my question would be why Doctor Strange couldn't just simply make him exist again.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he could. And Doctor Strange remembers him because we had this not debate, but this discussion not too long ago about how in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, he references all this multiversal stuff.
Yeah.
So, and he was hovering over the Grand Canyon for most of that. So he remembers it. But then again, he never said he remembered Peter Parker. Just that he remembered Spider-Man and dealing with that. So I thought he was supposed to forget it all with everybody else, but maybe not. I don't know. But he could, I guess he could if he wanted to, or Wong could. Because, either one of them could do it, or if they could time travel somehow, but it doesn't work that way because Back to the Future is total bullshit. Okay, never mind. But Hulk could be wrong.
That's been well established.
But Hulk could be wrong.
Smart Hulk cannot be wrong.
He could be. I think he was wrong about She-Hulk.
But he's not.
Kind of. Well, so far he's not, I guess.
And I think that the movies, again, looking at the MCU and their laws for time travel, the Hulk wasn't wrong in Endgame.
I'm still trying to figure out the Captain America thing. Like how he was able to be on the bench without the Pym particles and all that stuff. Without being able to fuel his time travel, he was there.
I mean, I guess if he didn't create a branch in the timeline, then he could have simply just stayed there.
Yeah, and I guess that does make sense because when he went to the past, it was the past of that timeline. So he didn't create anything that already would. Because even if he created, but he had to have created a branch because, oh my gosh.
I know. I don't want to break you here.
But he goes back in time and stays with Peggy and has, I don't know if they have kids or not, but he dances with them or he dances to her and has that entire life with her. Because he has the wedding ring on at the end of the.
And here's the real zinger to me is if this was a loop where he always goes back, that he was always meant to be with Peggy, it was his fate to go back and to be with her, and it was always fate for him to return to that bench.
Yeah.
If it's a loop, then I can live with that.
Yeah, but he had to have created a branch somehow. Otherwise, then Bruce Banner's ideas of time travel are just bullshit.
Yeah. We don't know. I think there's also, it's also very possible that we don't know what version of the timeline this is. Right?
True.
This could very well be another version of the timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that is a twist.
I'm really sure that if you were to like tie them down and torture them with thumb screws, that, gun to their forehead, they would probably give us some type of, multiverse kind of answer.
If this loop was a prime timeline, it would be okay, and that would be okay. But then the time would have had to have changed if it's the same timeline as when he left, because if he never got frozen, never got pushed to the future, whatever, then he would not have. The Avengers wouldn't have happened. None of that would have happened. So he would have then went back in time in the first place because he never would have been there to do it. So, and I know time travel doesn't work that way, but if he's in the same timeline all old, then that means he lived a life there. But then again, that rule does say that if you go do something else, it won't affect your present or whatever. So he must have just stayed. But then how could he stay in the past and get old and be in the future? Because if time doesn't change, wouldn't there be a young Steve Rogers and old Steve Rogers at the same time?
There would be a frozen Steve Rogers, and there would be future Steve Rogers living his life in the past.
That's true.
That's
true. That's a good point. And Peggy doesn't know. She just thinks he didn't get frozen.
Yeah.
Or that he unthawed already, and then he's secretly still frozen. So when he's old, sitting on the bench, that did create an alternate Steve Rogers that's just living in this timeline. So now we know that there's a frozen Steve Rogers out there. So Captain America, welcome back.
I'd always thought that his relationship with that agent in I forget her name, but in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the lady who had been keeping an eye on his apartment.
Yeah.
That there had to be a reason for why she was keeping such a close eye on him. And I personally believe that she knew, not only did she know who he was, but I think she also had realized that he was essentially her uncle.
That's interesting. I haven't really thought about the Captain America stuff that deeply.
I think it makes more sense. The Captain Carter connection and being her aunt, I think makes sense. But if it was both, that not only was it that it was her aunt, but it's also her uncle, that she's keeping an eye on family. Yeah. Now that makes a lot more sense.
It really does. I like the idea too that there's another frozen Steve Rogers somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a backdoor, kind of like just in case kind of way to explain him being young again.
Now, what would have been cool is if Steve had gone to Peggy and said, "Listen, you need to get a boat, and you need to dig up. You need to unfreeze my body, because here's where it is."
That'd be interesting.
That would have been interesting. They didn't do it, but it would have been interesting.
I guess they still could if they wanted to. They could always find a way to write that and like this is what happened in the past, and then they have that conversation, and you find out because Secret Wars, I don't know what that's all about. I didn't read the comics exactly, but he could always pop up in any big kind of crossover movie kind of thing. And I think that would be really cool to see that Steve Rogers, not knowing the history of what happened from the time he thought out to Endgame, not knowing any of that.
It would be interesting. I really do feel like we are in a real transitional period. Within the MCU, there's a lot of baton passing. Tony Stark is gone, and so the mantle of Iron Man is going to get passed to Iron Heart. Hawkeye is old, and so he's passing that over to Kate Bishop. Bruce Banner is off planet, and so She-Hulk is going to have to step in and take over some of those responsibilities. I mean, I think that's happening a lot here. Even with Thor, I feel like Love and Thunder was kind of him coming to terms with some things as well. So
Yeah, and that's why Love and Thunder kind of really threw me because I thought for sure, spoilers, that Jane dies. So I know we mentioned that when we kind of talked about the movie, and she's there, but she's dead. But I did not think. I thought that I thought the Thor powers would have cured her,
yeah,
but instead they killed her faster. And I think they knew they were going to make us think that because Love and Thunder, everybody else is passing the baton. Everybody else is having a new replacement come in. And so you think Thor, and she's Mighty Thor. We knew this going in. Oh, it's going to happen. And then, boom, she's dead. So I guess Thor. But then again, you have the other kid that Thor kind of takes care of at the end. So you know that's going to be Thor.
yeah.
Should have been Jane, though.
You know what? That's what I had thought was that Jane would end up taking on that mantle, and she didn't even make it an entire movie.
No, sadly. We just don't see enough in Natalie Portman.
You know, Natalie Portman has to think about dying in movies.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in Star Wars she was in 3 movies, but still.
She was, but she dies, spoiler alert, you know, at Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yeah. At the very end.
Yeah. And they couldn't save her then either.
For some reason. When we find out that those are just really terrible Jedi. Like Yoda, and they're just shitty because at the end of what was it, the last Disney night trilogy movie, I don't know, whatever the last Star Wars was called, episode 9, where Kylo Ren dies too, I think, but Rey, she dies, and like they basically heal each other with their own force essence. They just be like, and then I'm cured. Why couldn't Yoda do that? Why couldn't Yoda be like, oh, I'm old enough. You're Padme. Boop, you're alive.
And so this would be the real twist is that the Emperor Palpatine issues Executive Order 66, and you know, the Jedi got killed, and the living Jedi end up, you know, getting scattered and go into hiding. If there was a Jedi available that could have, you know, possibly healed Padme, they were not anywhere nearby to help to go in and save her.
And now that I think about it, I believe that resurrection power was more pretty much of a dark side ability. Not even just any Jedi could learn it. I think it was you had to be a part of the dark side in order to do it. Because Kylo Ren was this dark side. But then, but Rey wasn't the dark side. She did it. So I get, but she was a Palpatine.
She's a Palpatine.
That's true. So only a Palpatine or someone in the dark side has done it. So, and I guess we figured out by the end of that last movie that Palpatine was the essence of every person that turned to the dark side. He was controlling them in some way. So, like a puppet, basically. So I guess it was a Palpatine thing. But still, it would have been nice to be able to see her. You would think that Palpatine would want to save Padme so he could torture Anakin later to make him more evil. Like, look, Anakin, she's back. Or whatever. Like, oh, Padme. And then, I don't know.
You know that for the Jedi, one of the reasons why they had really been warning him against attachment, right?
Wait, which direction is
that? Right. No, but warning him against attachment was that the loss of Padme was what made him go toward the dark side. If she had been healed, then it would have given him hope that would have kept him from going dark.
Then again, though, you would think that Anakin or Darth Vader at that point would have sensed that she died. But he's like, where is Padme? You killed him. No. Like, he just trusted Palpatine when he told him. He didn't sense it. He just trusted him. He could have just said she died when he healed her. And then he'd be like, no. And then, I don't know. I guess it was like her actually being dead. I think if she was alive, he would have been able to feel her.
Yeah.
Sense her. So that would have been interesting, though.
That'll be for the next movie.
Yeah, episode 10. The Force awakens back up from being dead for 30 years.
Yes, the Force gets jiggy with it.
You see like Ghost Padme twerking, and then
right, we're gonna find out that Padme was also a Palpatine.
And then Yoda's like throwing dollar bills.
Right.
Delicious
money, oh God.
I don't know. Yoda in a strip club. That's just. Well, they could do a crossover. Yoda could come on to She-Hulk like, hire you, I must. The victim of robbery, I am. I don't know. That would be interesting to see Yoda running like, just hopping around like he does, and just like, I don't know. I do wish they would do some kind of weird crossovers now that Disney owns half the planet.
Right.
They should cross more stuff over. But I don't think
we're going to do that. I think that this means, though, that She-Hulk is now a Disney princess.
That's true. She has to be a princess because she's the princess of Hulks.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, nobody else is going to be the princess of Hulks. They could actually start their own planet. It'd be like the Hulkanites or whatever you want to call them.
All right. I think we've driven that plot line down the tubes.
Probably.
I had wanted to ask you, did you get a chance to check out Kung Fu?
I haven't actually. I need to do that. I need to do that next. I made like a mental note of it, and then just did
do realize there are like, a lot of shows that are out there.
Yeah.
So much to watch, so little time. However, I will tell you that, season 1 of Kung Fu is fantastic. I'm kind of working my way through season 2 right now. I really, really like it. And again, this is coming from somebody who had watched the old David Carradine Kung Fu movies, had watched the, Kung Fu The Legend Continues. And this is certainly a different take on the story with an all-Asian cast, but really, really well done, in my opinion. So
I definitely do want to watch it. I think I had the intention of watching it, and then I found Halo and started watching that, and I just binged every episode. There's only 9, but still, I watched all those. Oh, no.
Oh, no?
No more title cards until you watch Kung Fu.
Wow, you've been cut off, Steven.
Well, we're going to be on – this show's going to take a break for about 6 weeks. I'll just start drawing stick figures and put 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and just like keep the same image but just change the number each week.
I mean, I don't think people realize how serious that is. Like, we're gonna get shut down.
Cards. Yeah, those title cards have been kind of like a trademark for this show. Like,
I know.
There's always something that shows something about something. And now it's just going to be a piece of paper.
I don't know why. Can you put that picture up? Can you put that picture up there again?
Yeah.
I don't know why I look like Barry Gibb from the Bee Gees.
Kind of.
Like I'm staying alive right there in that picture.
Yeah, and you're in my head. Oh, you can't see that in the picture, but you're implanted into my brain.
And then you look like the guy who plays the Punisher.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
That dude, the actor that plays Master Chief. I was gonna try to find it, but we're so close to the end. Maybe I'll save that for next week if I remember.
Yeah.
But they do look the same. They look similar.
All right. So listen, you just gotta watch it at least one episode, and that way, Corey will make us more title cards, and because
he puts a lot of minutes into those.
They are valuable minutes though. High quality minutes.
There's like 13 of them or however long. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to wait to see a number. I'm like, how many minutes? I
know.
Like, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll have to watch Kung Fu. Otherwise, we'll have stick figures with numbers.
I know. Honestly, I can't live with that. So.
Or I could just pull up a piece of paper that says like episode 2 or like whatever number.
Or then you're going to be like, Oh yes, I saw Kung Fu. It was amazing.
I'm just kidding. I did watch it. It's amazing.
Right.
I love it. 20 or 30 minutes. It's actually a pretty good amount of time, I would say, for making one little title card.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe Corey's not as good as we thought he was.
I
You'd
mean,
think that if he was better, he might knock those out quicker.
I could make it 19 or 29, but
This is
maybe.
sort of like we'll do a version of this. It's sort of like, name that tune. I can make that thumbnail picture in 18 minutes.
I'll just find one that he made from a while ago that's like more generic, and I'll just change out the number.
We'll just recycle it. Yeah. We'll just recycle.
And not even like Photoshop the numbers out and put new numbers in. I'll just take it and pull it up in a paint program and draw a new number over the old number.
Right. We'll put a really, really rough X over the old number and then handwrite in the new one.
Oh man, I really wish I could draw on screen like with this software or this program. I just episode or get a picture of duct tape and put over the 110.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
And just write 111 and then change the faces.
I've got to say, I really have to give Corey credit for is that our faces are on the characters on the right sides of the screen.
Yeah, and they usually are.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I don't have them all saved right away. I have them on my phone somewhere because typically what I'll do is it will send them to me in Messenger. I'll save it to my phone and then make the show schedule it all on my phone. And that way it's all set up, ready to go. And I sit to my computer here. It's all ready. It's easier than uploading through the computer because then you have to click the file folder and go through the folder scroll and all that stuff. It's so much easier to do on the phone, which sounds backwards. You would think a computer would be easier, but I think it's just the speed of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's deep. He has to make Chris's head thinner a lot. Wow.
Well, I'll try to see that personally.
Well, I always seem to have more hair than I actually do.
I mean, I should have plenty of space for hair.
Yeah, I don't have anything, so I always end up. I'm never a bald character.
I know. I feel like I'm now getting. I feel a little attacked.
Maybe it's revenge.
I feel a little attacked. I don't know why Corey would want to get revenge. I mean, I've been nothing but a loving, caring, supportive brother.
They should do one day where it's like cartoon version of you hitting him in the head with like a stick. But as kids. That would be great.
That would be interesting.
Maybe somebody should do that. Is there a picture?
Are you trying to give someone some ideas of what?
Well, I mean, all I can say is if he really wants to make a picture and then just show it to me, I could always write the number 111 on it, even though he doesn't want to make the title cards unless I watch Kung Fu. He can just make them for entertainment reasons, and I totally won't write numbers on them. So.
Oh boy, this could get interesting really fast.
I'm going to see what I get in Messenger in a few days. It'll be like, I don't know.
I know. Corey's going to put like a Hitler stash on my face.
Oh, no. Wow. Yeah. They can get pretty dark. Or both Hitlers. That would be pretty dark. I don't know. I don't think we would show that one on here. Like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 666. This is... Yeah. Oh, well. That would be...
Yeah, welcome to this episode of Between a Pod and the Hard Place. So, yeah.
Yeah, we are not German.
We are Austrian.
We are imposters.
Yeah, Vienna sausages and stuff. Yeah.
People are going to see this clip and go, oh, they're German, and then cancel us.
I know.
So both of our followers will stop.
We're gonna lose. It's gonna severely impact our views.
Okay.
All right. Well. A Cran one next time. There we go. A highly,
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. We should watch Princess Bride and talk about that. at some
You
point.
know, I really find Princess Bride is one of the greatest movies of all time.
I need to rewatch it. I don't think I watched it for like 62 years. I think it's the last time I
62
watched it.
years.
Yeah.
Like, you would have had to like start it, what, 30 years before you were born?
And before the movie existed, I think.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
that's how long it's been. It just
It feels
shows.
like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has actually been pretty fun. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
try
have
to
certainly
watch.
we've talked about everything here in this episode.
Pretty much.
From gamma irradiated backsides dancing um to kung fu to America's ass to
To various random movies.
right, Ace Ventura and Austin Powers,
To
MTV.
yeah, MTV. I mean,
So
Beavis and Butthead, Halo.
I don't know. We
Yeah,
we
there's
certainly
so
have
much.
run the gamut.
The gamut ray.
I know. That
Yeah.
said, if you're watching this and you have some ideas for things that you think that we should also go and talk about in our episodes, hey, leave us a comment, and we might actually talk about it here on the show.
Yeah, and if you can see down at the bottom, it's been ticking around for about an hour and a half. All of our social media platforms that you can follow us, like us, comment to us, subscribe to us, make your friends watch us if you're mad at them, all kinds of stuff. So, and suggest title cards that Corey can make.
Yeah.
So that it would be entertaining and all that. And give us money if you want.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, that's fine. But
yeah,
it would be cool if you did. All 6 of you. Oh wait, 7. Never mind. No, I'm joking. But I think it is the end of the show because we all know if I keep going that I really keep going. So we'll call that a day, and we'll be back next Sunday.
All right.
At 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I keep getting those mixed up. One day you're going to be on the East and I'm going to be on the West for some reason. We're just going to be like, oh, this is awkward. Remember that time? Oh, no. And then one day we'll surprise people and be in the same room.
That would be amazing.
I always wanted to do it. And by the time it happens, everybody will forget about this. But I always thought we could do it to where I'm like, hey, I'm in a new room today doing the podcast. Let me reach over here and grab something. And then my hand comes like over your head and in real life, and I go, ha, like I jump screens or something. I don't know. It'd be funny. Get like a backdrop of this made.
You keep threatening to show up here in California, you know.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
If things went a little bit better than I thought, then I would have been there back in like June or May. But hopefully soon. I'll get a backdrop of this wall and stuff made so I can just print it so it'll look like we're sitting on 2 completely spaced big places, and then it'll just be literally like right there, and then I'll just like push you out of the way, and then I'll be like, ha, I'm the king, and then you'll slap me with a nunchuck that you saved from childhood. Oh wow. So if I move to Hawaii, then we need a new logo. It'd be the same, but it would just be palm trees behind us instead of a globe.
We would just simply be, it'd be the same picture, but Steven we would both be on the Pacific.
Yeah, that's true. That part's true. I was like, yeah, it wouldn't be much different. I would just be in Hawaii. Why would that matter? I'm like, oh yeah. Then I was renaming the show in my head. It's between a palm and a hard place. But then it's like,
that sounds really naughty, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, between a palm and a hard place. Wow. Did not even register until you said that.
Right. I
guess we're our porn parody.
There we go.
I really hope there are women involved in that.
And this Palmcast became really scary all of a sudden.
Palmcast sounds
our Palmcast
dirty too.
Yeah.
I just hope the parody version has at least one woman in it. Kind of like even it out. So that's the cue to say goodnight, everybody.
Right, absolutely, because we're digging a hole faster than nothing.
Yeah, we're digging something, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for watching Between a Palm and a Hard Place tonight.
Oh gosh.
Don't get stuck in between the. Okay, yeah. Yeah, have a good night, everybody, and we'll be back next week with
All right.
something to watch or something to talk about watching. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. Good night.
See ya.